Alrighty, wow, I made it. I got so busy setting up for today's show, I didn't start today's show on time, the preview part. But thank you all for being here. I had to quick run out, get something to drink, just in case I get a little dry during today's show. Today's show is brought to you by Canada Dry Ginger Ale. I can close that. So, once again, welcome everyone to today's show. We have an exciting show today because I have my hands on the brand new Magewell Director ONE. Let me get rid of this and come back down here to our chat. So today we're talking about the Magewell Director ONE, and I invite you to ask your questions because I have one right here in front of me, and this is the magic of a live show. If you are here for the Magewell Director ONE, I have one. In fact, it is right here. I have it right here in front of me, antennas and all, and flippy screen and all. So it is hooked up already. I was, like I said, I was busy setting this up before the show and got kind of involved in setting my presets and moving cameras and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I should start the show. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Again, I always say, welcome everyone to the live show. You are here, I am here. That's what makes the magic, is we're here together, and it's like a free consultation with the actual product you might be interested in. You know, every show has a theme, but if you have a question that's not necessarily related to the Director ONE, feel free to throw that into the comments because I'll do my best to answer it. I am not AI. I am not AI generated. I cannot scour the web in 0.5 seconds and give you a summary of the information that's publicly available on the web. However, I can give you the benefit of 20 years of broadcast television production experience, which AI can't do. So while I'm doing that, let me start the live stream on Instagram. If you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, or Instagram, feel free to throw your comments in whatever chat area you have on whatever platform you're in. I always love to know where everyone is watching from because this is a live streaming. Everyone around the world, including, oops, it moved, Corfu, Greece. Thank you, Andreas, for jumping in there. We also have Smart Video in Belgium. And then, of course, coming all the way across the sea, hello from Chicago, Illinois, from Peter. Thank you very much for being here. Kirk Riley is in Dallas, Texas. And hey, you guys are very consistent. The McGee Academy of Arts and Sciences is right here in Pico, Riviera, California. So anyway, there's an interesting discussion this morning about internal batteries versus external batteries. Lots of devices use these NPF batteries. It's a standard that Sony came up with. Do I have a Sony one here? No, I actually don't have a Sony one here, but the patent has expired, so everybody's making them now. Sony invented the NPF that came out with the VX1000 in 1995. That's when this battery format, this foot, we'll call it, was developed by Sony for use on a prosumer mini DV. That's the first camera that ever used it, the mini DV camera. And I know that for a fact because I just got back from a 3-month filming expedition in Alaska. And that September, Sony introduced mini DV and this battery. And I was like, man, I wish I had that on the shoot because we used big, heavy broadcast cameras with NP1 batteries. And it was beastly. Everything was difficult because of that. And if we could have shot on mini DV with tiny little lithium batteries that lasted for hours and hours and hours, oh, it would have been a vastly different shoot. But thank you all. This battery is still, I mean, 95, 05, 25. This battery format has lasted 20 years and it is still very, very widespread. So I have several devices in front of me that can use it. And actually, let me grab one more. Let me see if I can get there. Oops, I just lost my backlight. I don't know why. Whatever. So I lost my backlight. So there's also this StreamTek video mixer, and I did a video on this, and it is the tiniest and the lightest because it does not have a built-in battery, but it takes NPFs. So this is a very, very tiny. It takes two HDMI ins. That's it, just two. So there's not a whole lot of mixing you're going to do. And then you get function keys on the side. I mean, it's very interesting, and it's got a little fan, kind of like the Director Mini SD card, but no USB inputs. But yeah, there you go. You can take your little battery. Let me go to overhead. You could take your little NPF battery, put it in here, and now you're powered. And you can decide how much power you want. Like, do I just want a little bit of battery power for backup, or do I need to run for a really long time? Yeah, and this was one of the problems with this one. It doesn't like, get like, there. So do you want a little bit of runtime, or do you want a lot of runtime? Actually, these batteries are a little different. They have a USB port on top, and these are the only batteries I found that have that, and that is useful for tally lights that run off a USB. So I'm able to power both the tally light and the camera off of these batteries. So that's why they are a little bit longer than your standard 970. The one I have on the Director ONE is, these are the 570s and 770s. 570 is the thin one with 2 batteries in it. 770 has 4 cells in it, and the 970 has 2, 4, 6 cells in it. So that's the difference. 970, 770, and 570 are the different sizes of the batteries that you can put on there. But all of the Magewell Director devices use external batteries. They do not have internal batteries, but you can power them via external 12-volt source directly and use the batteries as backup, or you could just use the batteries on the back. And it uses one battery at a time. So I have this one, and right now it's powered and running off of Ethernet, and I'm standing on it. So I have this one on here, and if I take the DC power out, you will see that the battery lights will light up, telling you the strength of each battery. That is one of the new features of the Director ONE, is that there's a 4 LED battery indicator on each battery that tells you how strong that battery is. Now, the thing it's not doing is it's not telling me which battery is in use. You know, like if it could go red to tell me this is the battery in use, and green, that's the other battery that's not in use. It doesn't do that. And if we look overhead and come down overhead, you can see, I can see both battery indicators here as well, in the front and the back, but it's still not telling me which is the active battery. I mean, technically, if I take one battery out, it's just going to use the other one, but it would be nice to know which is the one that's actually in use, you know? I guess you'll find out as I go, because that'll be the battery that gets used up. So, continuing along, let's see if we have any questions coming in here. Smart Video says, now is a good time to mention the discussion about the YoloBox with NPF battery option, since Director uses NPF batteries and also the other manufacturers. Yes, that's what led to that discussion, and it is a good discussion, because you can have the tiniest little device, that's all well and good, but if it's got no power and then you also have to bring batteries, that is a concern. Whereas if you have this other really tiny device, this is the YoloBox Mini, and it has batteries in it. So there's nothing else to bring. And this one, I have to bring and attach other things to get it to work. This one just works. That's it. That's all you need. It's right here. So there's something to be said for internal batteries, even if it's just a small internal battery that'll get you through like a 2-hour or 1-hour show. Let's see who else is chimed in here. Once again, we got Peter in Chicago, Illinois. Mark has joined us from Wyoming. Thank you for joining us from Wyoming. Ray is saying hello from Indiana, and William is in Bill is in Long Island, New York. Hooray for removable batteries and goodbye to swollen YoloBox batteries. And I'm just going to make a point here that it's not YOLO specific. You remember Samsung had a phone with batteries that erupted in fire. I had an amateur radio that the battery swelled up, and thankfully I was able to source a replacement battery, and I documented this on my AIBA channel where I took the back off, and thankfully the battery had a Molex plug, so I had to just disassembling it. It was 13 screws. I had to disassemble it, and it was so swollen that the back was pushed out and the front of the display was starting to discolor because it was being pushed from behind. LCDs don't like being pressured. And I was just able to just like unplug it, put the new battery in, plug it in, put the back on. I was good to go. And then I sent the lithium ion for recycling. But yes, it is very common. Amazingly, 20 years and these batteries don't swell. I think because of the cell. These round cells are not as prone to swelling as the flat pack cells for whatever reason. Because if you look at laptop batteries, they will swell. Tablet batteries, they will swell. Those are all flat pack batteries. And the batteries in the YoloBox, some batteries in some YoloBoxes, and other flat pack batteries, you know, old cell phones, swell. So that is just something that is industry-wide. Phone manufacturers have had it easy in that there is such a massive user base with the cellular devices that you can take your Samsung phone or your Apple phone to the store and say, hey, it looks like it's starting to swell, or it doesn't even run as long as it used to. I want a new battery. And they will swap out the battery right there. I had my Samsung battery swapped out for $60 or whatever it was. That's a great feature, you know, and they have to do quite a bit of disassembly to get that thing apart and put it back together. So that is something to be aware of with flat pack batteries. TSA had fun with that phone, yes. The phone that was universally recalled because there was no way to fix it. Greg joining us from London, so thank you all for being there. And again, if you're joining us late, and I see the numbers have climbed up quick here, I love to say hello to everyone. This is a live show. I am here, you are here, we're here together. So if you have questions, throw them into the comments on whatever platform you're on. Checking Instagram, throw them into the comments on whatever platform you're on, because that's the whole point of being here live, is that you actually get to ask questions. And I get to try something out if it's a good question. Where is everyone watching from? So let me know where you're watching from if you haven't already chimed in. And as I always say, we're talking about the Magewell Director ONE in today's show, but feel free to throw any question on any topic you have. If I can't answer it, I will do my best. If I can't, I'll just let you know that I can't. I'm not going to make shit up. And we'll send that away. So once again, today is going to be about the Magewell Director ONE. And the Magewell Director ONE is an evolution from the Magewell Director Mini. And I have several videos about the Magewell Director Mini. So if you are looking at what the Director ONE can do for you, go and watch my videos on the Director Mini. And how would you find those videos on the Director Mini? Well, let me show you. You can go to the YouTube channel, you go to the videos right here, and then you just type in over here where it says, you can type in Magewell, Magewell, and then there it is. There's the Director ONE first look. There's the Director Mini intro. Here's why I connected 10 cameras to a Director Mini. Here's where I got a $20, I'm still using it, $20 Bluetooth keyboard to control the Director Mini. It's the live shows, the software updates. We're now on software 3, so some of this, the firmware in 2.48 whatever has been surpassed with the version 3. And here you can find the information on what version 3 software did. And there's a good show on, no, not the Mevo Start, and connecting it to the Magewell Director wireless cameras. And we're going to kind of get into that in today's show as well, because that is one of the really cool features of the Director ONE is the external antennas. And that makes going wireless, really wireless, even more possible. I did a show about, actually, I did the show on the Talent, which is basically the Magewell Director Mini, the OBSBot Talent, talking to OBSBot cameras completely wirelessly. I just had those 2 devices. That's it. That was the whole kit. The Talent and the cameras. You could have multiple cameras. Talent and cameras. That was it. And with that, with these antennas now, you are able to do 2 more things that you couldn't do with the Talent. You've got internal 4G cellular and antennas so that you could actually get better reception than antennas built inside the unit, which is how the Talent is designed. I have a Talent here. And the Talent is designed so the antennas are down behind this plastic flat panel, because the rest of the unit is metal. And metal is a reflector. It blocks or reflects the signal. So you have to have a plastic panel for the signal to be able to get out. And unless you are taking your signal and creating a path so that you have an external antenna that is much more able to receive a signal further away, you could even add a directional antenna to this. There are directional cellular antennas so that you can make sure that you're hitting a tower in a really remote area. And then you've got 2 Wi-Fi antennas, and the Wi-Fi antennas lets you share your internet connection, which is inside the unit. You create a hotspot on your Director ONE, that becomes your wireless access point for all the wireless devices you want to connect to it, whether they be cell phones running the Director camera app, 3 of them, whether they be Wi-Fi devices connecting to this, 3 of them. So that's 6 wireless cameras with no wires connecting to this device and then going out cellular or bonding through multiple connections. Now, I don't have a cellular connection in this device, so if we look at the overhead, you will see I have a white cable down here at the bottom. That's my Ethernet connection. So that is providing the blink, 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 blink. That's providing the data for that I am indeed sharing out of these antennas. So if we close my little thing here, go into the settings, go into my network, you will see my hotspot and tethering is on. And if I click on that, 1 device is connected. And that device is the tail air camera, which you see in this shot. I have a camera behind the tail air to show you the tail air. So here is the tail air camera. Hello, tail air. And then I can come up here and I can move the tail air around. And then I can put it back into my preset 1, which I have set so that it's looking at me. And then I can close that, and you can see that is the camera. There's no power cables, there's no Ethernet cables, there's nothing plugged into it. It's just sitting on a little microphone stand straight up. And that is what this is enabling. It's talking to these antennas directly. There's nothing between that camera and me. And depending upon your environment, the distance you can get can be pretty good. Now, the cameras don't have external antennas, but this does. And let's just say you're in a press box of an event and all your cameras are in front of you. Well, you don't necessarily need omnidirectional antennas, which means they broadcast in all directions, you maybe want to swap these antennas out with directional panel antennas that focus and listen in front of you. So if all your cameras are in front of you, then you want to send your signal this way and you want to hear only from what's in front of you. You don't want to, you're blocking any sort of RF behind you. And that is something that you can do with directional antennas because these are standard connections on here. And my first look, go to the first look video. The first look video covers specifics about these antenna jacks because the cellular jacks are different than your Wi-Fi jacks. One is an SMA, the other one is a reverse SMA, and you want to make sure you're putting the correct antenna into the correct port because you could possibly damage the port with the pin, which I believe is the Wi-Fi port. You know what? We're going to look at that right now. Let's come down here, go to this camera. So you can, no, it's a little overexposed. This camera, no, I have it in the, it's in the video, and unfortunately that camera is a little overexposed. I knew this one didn't go in all the way. There we go. So that if you try to take one of these, that this one is the Wi-Fi antenna and the antenna does not have a pin. And if you take the cellular SMA does have a pin, if you can see it there. So the cellular SMA has a pin in it and the Wi-Fi antenna does not, which means that this has a pin sticking out. What you don't want to do is you don't want to take the antenna with the pin and put it into the port with the pin, because then you'll be smashing those two pins against each other, and the only way that's going to work as you screw it in is they're going to have to bend, and you're basically going to misalign them, one or the other or both, and then the antenna is not going to work in the other port, and then that is not going to work on the proper antenna. So you be very, very careful. I wish they kind of color-coded this end so that orange goes to orange and blue goes to blue or whatever, but they didn't. They did, however, write on them. So this one says Wi-Fi very lightly, and this one says 4G. So the top of the thing is labeled, so 4G goes into 4G, and Wi-Fi goes into Wi-Fi. And I guess just as a general precaution, if while you're trying to attach the antenna you meet resistance, stop. If it just goes on very nicely without any effort, you should be good. So a couple questions came in. Let's look at these. Actually, a bunch of questions came in. Greg said a lot. I'm a newbie to Wi-Fi recording, pretty clueless about SRT configure, so I was looking at some wired options. There's a lot you can do with Wi-Fi without SRT. SRT is really good about getting a signal through challenging connections. If you're dealing with your local area, that should be pretty solid. You don't need SRT to go between that device and my device right here, that they can see each other. Plus, SRT is a single connection into the device. It's really meant for, oh, I need to get an SRT connection from a wireless camera in a race car as it's flying around the track where it's going to be bumpy, it's going to have other RF going on. That one camera is going to need a more reliable connection. But all the cameras that are sitting here in my studio or around a field and everything is stable and I'm able to have directional antennas, you don't need SRT for that. NDI will get you 3 connections. The built-in camera app will get you 3 connections. That's 6 connections. SRT will get you 1. With the announcement of 3.1 beta, I was looking for the USB-C out to an iPad touchscreen. Actually, that was available before. That was available before, so you don't have to wait for 3.1. The touchscreen, people have already been using the touchscreen with the 3.0. With the announcement of the Director ONE and an additional HMI port, I was anticipating being able to also connect to a wall monitor. Yep. Well, you could do that with the minis. I'm going to call them minis. And all you would need is a dongle like this. So USB to HDMI. Now, The trade-off is on the Mini and the Talent, there's only one USB-C connection. And it's either doing display out to a touch screen or UVC to a computer or USB-C to HDMI. One of those three things. What you get with the One is you get two ports. You get the UVC out, which is now locking, and you get HDMI out, which is also locking if you get a cable that locks like that. That's a reset pin. Don't look at that. That's a reset hole. So HDMI out and UVC out. So I haven't checked it yet, so I'm just being honest and forthright with you. I have not pushed it and tested that, but you should be able to get UVC out to a computer and HDMI out to a monitor. Now, there's only one output setting. So if you're outputting program to UVC, you're likely going to get program out HDMI. Maybe in a future update, they'll find a way to give you program out UVC and a multi-view out HDMI. But as far as I know, that's not a thing right now. These two outputs, if you're using them as two different outputs, are going to be the same output. But having a dedicated HDMI gives you the ability to have a robust connection without having to use this very fragile USB-C, which is why there's two locking screw holes on here now. And the power is also a threaded power cable as well. So we were wondering about that, and the two displays are still kind of even, neck and neck. Let's look at the back. Yep, still kind of even. One went down one notch, and we'll see who goes down to one green dot. That's the battery it's using. So we're doing a test. As we do this video, we're doing a test. Continuing down, thank you, Peter, for all these comments. I appreciate it. This is the magic of an interactive show, is that we have the ability, you have the ability to ask questions, and we have a discussion here. When you want to connect NDI cameras, do you need to buy an NDI license for the Magewell or for the camera, or both? I'm confused about that. The Magewell devices come with NDI. They are NDI enabled. Activated. Let's just call it activated. NDI activated. Now, that camera you see right here, this camera, the OBSBot cameras do not come with NDI activated. They are NDI capable. And then, if you want to use NDI, you can activate NDI in each camera. Now, if you had a bird dog camera, which is actually the camera behind it, you can see, you can't really see it, but the tail air is the close camera, and the camera behind it is a bird dog. Bird dogs are NDI cameras. They also have SDI and HDMI, but they are NDI cameras, so they are fully NDI activated. PTZ Optics makes NDI cameras. If you were to get a Mevo Start camera, that comes with NDI activated. But if you were to get a Canon high-end PTZ camera, you're going to then need to buy an NDI activation license for $299 for that camera to turn it on, because not everybody needs NDI. A lot of people are working on wired systems with those broadcast cameras, and they just want to add a new camera into that solution. And when they add that camera, they're just going to connect it to the Visa control and to the SDI out, and that's it. They don't need NDI. So NDI does not come activated on that camera, so that those people who don't want it don't have to pay for it. And just to be clear, when you pay for the NDI activation, NDI goes back to the NDI licensing group, which is part of Vizert, formerly NewTek, who invented it. So that's where the money is going. And the NDI licensing group are the ones who set the pricing parameters. So whether a company decides to roll it into the price of the product or keep it separate be clear that it's not YoloBox saying, oh, did you want NDI on this? You got to pay us $100. Well, actually, the money's passing through for the activation. So that's just different companies do it different ways, and it's just a fact of life. To use NDI, you got to pay the piper, and the piper is the NDI licensing group. I apologize if you're hearing extra noise. The mowers are here. It's Wednesday. Jerry Kelman is joining us from Barbados in the West Indies. Thank you very much for being there. Greg continues, this would give me both an iPad touchscreen control to hand, a larger screen for audience engagement and feedback. Always remember that these devices you can control via a web browser. If you have a web browser or even the app. So if you have the let's do that right now. It's a live show. Let's do it. Let's do overhead, side by side. So what we're going to do is, let me just get my phone all situated, and we're going to go into the Director utility. So here's my Director utility. It's an app for Android and iOS. So if you wanted to hand somebody a tablet to control your device, they don't even need to be connected to your device. So you just click on Remote Assistant. It sees both the, I'm going to guess it's this one because I am doing the show on a Director Mini and I'm showing you this, and they are both on the network. So I'm going to guess, can I rotate it this way? No, it's not going to tell me. Connect to this one. Me over, 2-shot vertical, 2-shot. No, nope, that's the one that's doing the show. Let's go back. Disconnect. So let's go to this one. Okay, so this is the Director ONE, and I can switch cameras here. I can turn down the volume because I don't want to hear it. You're actually able to hear the show over here. You can control your graphics, you can control your stream, you can go into the album, you can do your volume. Let's go back over here. There's your expanded program at the top. And then I don't see a way to control comments on here, but I thought there was in the app. If not, you can disconnect. We're going to disconnect that, and we're going to connect to the device directly. So I'm going to use my browser on my phone. New tab. This is the magic of a live show, so I apologize for the delay in getting the setup, but this was not pre-planned. 192, 168, 4, 178, go. Username, I don't know. I haven't set this one up. Nope. Okay, so it's not letting me sign into that one because I don't know what the login is offhand, but I do know what the login is on the other one. And actually, I'm just going to skip over that for now because I have done in my videos about the Director Mini, I have shown what the web interface can do. I've gone through the entire login and every tab in that, and there you can access your viewer comments using the web interface of any device, whether it be a laptop, tablet, or I probably wouldn't do it on a phone. It's a little cramped on a phone, but you can definitely do that. So the ability to control what is going on your device is available over your local area network, wirelessly or wired if you want, and that way you can hand that off without having to be plugged into the USB-C. So addressing this question, use an iPad touchscreen. Yes, you can use an iPad touchscreen and control to hand and a larger screen for audience engagement and feedback. Well, you could do all that on the iPad touchscreen while also being able to switch the show here. So you're letting somebody else do the comments while switching the show. You can also have a second person over there handling the audio mixing capabilities, and you can have a third person handling just your graphics. You know, you can just distribute all these tasks to other people and have somebody just switching cameras and stuff like that. Mike Sabatini joins us from sunny LaSalle, Illinois. Thank you very much for joining us. Having downloaded the updated director manual and read, not necessarily correctly. We kind of covered that. RP and standard SMA, yes. It does work, but I really don't recommend it as they can break. Yes. Is it possible to pause a stream in the talent so you can change your stream settings if necessary? I do not believe it is, only because the stream settings have an on or off as far as I know. I can actually try to hit YouTube Connect. So what I'm actually doing now is I'm trying it on the Director Mini that I am on, and it says I am streaming to YouTube. I haven't set anything up, so if there's some random stream on YouTube, this is the one. So welcome to everyone who's watching on YouTube of a new stream that popped up just out of nowhere. And if I hit the stream button, it says disconnect. So I can disconnect. Are you sure you want to stop streaming to YouTube? Stop. Oh, wait. Auto stop is not enabled on your YouTube channel. End the live now or pause streaming. So here's the caveat. It depends on how you have your YouTube set up or whatever destinations you're using. So auto stop is not enabled on my YouTube, so that if I were to have a glitch, it would keep waiting for data to come. So I could pause. For the device, I'm still stopping the stream. But on YouTube, I have it set to keep waiting unless I've sent an end live signal report. So I'm going to end the live. And that, I think, answers your question. It's not so much the talent, it's the content delivery network that you're leveraging. How do you have that set? Do you have it set to automatically stop the instant the data stops? Then when you pause, it's going to cut off. Apparently, I have my YouTube set to keep waiting a little bit and then resume streaming with whatever content comes in. That's going to mean I can stop on my device and then resume as long as it's, within a minute or so, and then the stream will continue. I got a device that works on NDI for about a minute before shutting down because it's not licensed. I would have preferred it not work at all. I think what they do is, and YOLO does that on their tablets. They give you 5 minutes to test it. You can see if you can make the camera connection with your YoloBox. You can see, how this works. Can you do the PTZ? How is that set up? How does it look? Is your network stable enough to handle 3 devices? In 5 minutes, you can kind of pretty much figure all that out. And then after 5 minutes, it's going to stop working. Now, if you want to actually use that feature and that's something you want to leverage, then you pay for it. If you tried it out and says, no, this isn't really for me, then you don't have to pay for it. And the YoloBox is set up so that when you activate NDI on the YoloBox, it activates 3 inputs and 1 output, which is what the YoloBox is designed for the Pro, no, not the Pro, for the Ultra. 3 inputs and 1 output. And for the Pro, it's 1 input and I don't think any outputs. And that is what is activated on that device. And as others have asked, if you activate NDI on a device, it is then active on that device. If you sell that device, that license goes with it. That activation goes with it. You're changing the code in that device and you don't get to unchange it back and then change it somewhere else. You paid the license for that device and that becomes permanent on that device and goes with it. So if that device dies, gets smashed in an accident, and you need to buy a new one, you're going to need to buy a new NDI license. NDI licenses are about $350 last time I checked. Actually, NDI licenses are based upon the cost of the unit through some algorithm that I don't understand from the NDI licensing group. So an NDI license for a tail air is, I believe, $99. A license for the Ultra in my handy PK1 cage and stand here You'll find a link in the description. The license for this is $99. The license for a bird dog, there's no, it's included. And the license for, let's just say, a Panasonic $3,000 PTZ camera could be $399. So it varies depending upon the device and what you're trying to do. Peter says, thank you. You're welcome. Is it also for mini or talent the remote control? I don't understand the question. Let me see. Andreas, let me go back and see what the other part was. Okay, I'm going to need you to like expand on the question because I don't know exactly what you're replying to because there's been a delay in me getting to your question. So, does it have replay? I want to use it for sports. Thanks. Keep up the great job. Thank you very much. Yes. Go watch the videos I've used. Over here, and you look videos here. There's several talk about the because software must have done for one an evolution of Germany. It is completely nice. It's an evolution. Some key features added. Nothing removed. Keys added. The direct first look that I published 9 days ago. Kind of the key differences. HDMI port, using the external antenna, the pin cell. Those are different in the Director ONE that continue, that give users who, you know, asked Magewell, this is great, but I really need internal cellular. This is great, but I need longer range for my Wi-Fi so that I can reach cameras. Oh, we'll just make the antennas external. It's got to have a dedicated HDMI out. I'm tired of using a dongle on the fragile, you know, USB-C port. So they went through and they made those particular updates. And a lot of people were saying, I needed to have a bigger, brighter screen. That's what it has. Like if I put these two next to each other, you'll see, you know, it's a bigger screen, although that's not exactly the best screen. Let's go to this one. There you go. It's a bigger screen. So people who want a bigger work surface, you know, to see the previews a little bit better, that's what you get here. You get bigger icons down the bottom here because it's just a bigger screen. And it's a bigger work area, which also comes in handy when you're doing audio mixing. Now, this is a little bit easier to work with, whereas on a 5-inch screen, it's a little tiny, you know? So, but the operating system is the same. The workflow is the same. The capabilities are the same, and replay is built in. If I log out of mine, YoloBox Ultra, NDI reverts back to factory. That would be something to bring up with YoloBox because, you know, once NDI is registered on a device, it should stay with that device. It shouldn't revert back to factory unless you do a factory reset. But even then, the NDI should remain activated on that device. My audio is roboty. May have been when I was doing the other stream. Thank you all for letting me know about the audio. I appreciate that. Following up on the stream pause, YouTube has enabled auto start and enabled auto stop toggles. I usually turn both on. If I leave auto stop turned off, is that where I get the possibility to pause? Yes, exactly. So that way you have, YouTube will wait until it receives a stop command. Apparently there's a way for these devices to say, this is the end of the stream, stop. Also, sometimes you know, double check this, test, test, test. I always say test, test, test. Sometimes you can stop the stream and it'll just stay there and keep waiting until you go onto YouTube with another device and say stop stream. You know, whether it be a laptop or a tablet, you have to go in there and say stream is done. And if you have auto start turned off, then it may be that you can start pushing, but it's not going to auto start on the content delivery network until you physically go on there and say, yes, start this stream, which enables people to have, you know, streams coming in and things just aren't auto starting like it did when I did that test. It just auto started, and of course that could have been what made the audio a little choppy, was I was all of a sudden doing something extra. All right, 45 minutes in, let's continue the tour. So yes, we've got these antennas up here, and I am able to, like I says, I'm able to talk to this camera, which is completely wireless. You can see right there, that camera is completely wireless. And let's see, take this cable, and I can plug it into, I believe, the HDMI out. And then it's going to ask me, what do you want to do with this? I'm going to duplicate my screen so that you can see exactly this. And this should be here. So now you can see this is the screen. And when I touch the tail air, and when I touch the bird dog, which is behind it, showing me the tail air, I can also go to the PTZ controls, and I can pan right in this device. This is happening over NDI, and then I have actually stored a preset, so I'm going to touch P1, and it's going to come back there. And that's available in this device. And when you connect your NDI devices, you're going to get NDI audio sources too. So there is the NDI source. The tail air's got the microphones on, and it's able to hear me. The bird dog does not have a built-in microphone, so unless I plug something into the back of the bird dog, it's not going to have any audio. If you don't want that audio, you see you down here, you still got the audio follows video, always on or always off, and there it goes. Now it's off. And then I can turn on audio follows video so that when that camera is in the shot like this, now that audio is shown at the top of the screen in these stereo meters up there. And again, you also have your program over here, your monitor level, and all of the other background music, my HDMI inputs, my camera input, NDI inputs. So you can see this audio meter, the audio mixer, I should say, is exactly like it is in the Director Mini. It's just a little larger, easier, it's more finger friendly. The other option we're talking about is, come down from the top, the external screen now is that dedicated HDMI out. So whether I wanted a multi-view, there you go, there's my multi-view, and I can choose what goes in that multi-view. So I can be, have that on a screen in front of me, just having all the different views. I'm still going to touch on the Director Mini, or I could set up a control service like this via Bluetooth and just be able to like spend $20 and switch cameras. So like if I wanted to switch to camera 1, there's camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, me over top, side by side. And then, you know what? I should go back to me and say, hey, I'm Anthony Brooks, the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek, and I've got a button that proves that. And cue the leaf blower. Yes. That's actually why I originally started doing these shows on Tuesday, was to avoid the Wednesday leaf blowing. Oh, we already did that one. Cue the leaf blower, yes, and they're right outside the window. So I apologize for that, but that is what it is. Up here, you can see it actually says 50% on both of, oh, let me go back to the two and give you the external screen, duplicate my screen again. So here on the top right, you can see both of the battery indicators are still at 50%, but it's still not telling me which one it's actually pulling the power from. I mean, it should, I don't know, circle it or make the one red or the two red, just so I know which one it's pulling from. I mean, again, honestly, it almost doesn't matter, because if I pulled one of them out, it's going to seamlessly switch to the other one. So that's just how it's going to work. Here's your auto rotate, so that when you take the screen and you tilt it one way or the other, because it's got mounting points on the top and bottom, if you move it, it's going to automatically rotate the screen so that it's going to fit whatever you want. So whether I want to mount it this way or this way, it's got a mounting point on the bottom, it's got a mounting point over here. So however you want to set it up, that's how it's going to set up. Or you can turn that off. so that now it's locked, and if you're in a car and the gyroscope is moving around and it keeps moving based on what it thinks is happening, you could lock that and turn that off. Go back here. Network bonding, I don't have more than one network connected, but this is where you can hook that up. And again, this is still with Speedify, so you set up a Speedify account and then you could bond multiple networks together. The device status tells you what all is going on here. Memory, temperature, CPU, uptime. I've had this thing up for 1 hour and 34 minutes. Let's come back over here. The brightness on this is much brighter than the Mini, so that was one of the key things, is to make this a lot brighter. Your headphone volume here. One special thing that I've learned is don't have this down, because this talks to the tablet. This is setting your volume from the tablet. And then if you go into the audio mixer, this is the volume from the application. And I have been here, it's like I can't hear it, and I keep cranking this up to the point where it distorts, but it turns out, oh, okay, now they're working together. Maybe that's been an update. Previously it was set so that I could have this down and be cranking it in the app and it's totally distorting, but it's because I had the tablet turned down. Now, thankfully, I think they've linked the two. So if I turn this all the way up, then I am actually turning up the app. Okay, good, that is working together. Much better, yay. Software advancements. Let's continue along here. Over here, you can see you've got the cellular built in, and you can still add external sticks. So do I have a SIM card in here? I do. Let's try it, see what happens. I don't have anything, I don't have an account set up on that, but let's see what happens. See if it pops up right here once it boots up. And then I've got my Frisco Studios Wi-Fi, which it knows the Ethernet I've got plugged in. I don't have anything on Bluetooth, and it says that I've got the hotspot set up as Director ONE. Down here, it's giving you the status of all your connections. So I've got my HDMI 2 coming in at 1080p 60. First HDMI is not connected. The tail air is coming in at 1080p 30. Here's my bird dog coming in at 1080p 60. So this is, a nice sort of heads up display status indicator telling you what all is going on with these things. Also, this is YUV at 10 frames a second. I don't know why that's coming in so low. And over here are my destinations. And if this was hooked up, you would get additional data with these as well. And I don't go to TikTok. A couple questions came in. How is it better to bring in external audio from the Magewell? Through camera from the mixer to the Magewell audio in? Personally, actually the way I do my show is I run my microphone into the camera. And that way I am assured, mostly assured, 95, 98% assured, that any delay applied to the video, the devices are set to treat them equally. So as the video goes into the device and has to be synced, there's a delay. Well, it automatically delays the audio with that input to match, so that when the video continues in the device, the audio is continuing in sync. If I bring in the audio through the external audio input line or mic, then it's going to be ahead of any digital source that needs to be reclocked inside of the device so it's in sync. Now, the manual audio input has a delay. You can delay it however many milliseconds. So if you think it's a 2-frame delay at 30 frames a second, that would be about 60 milliseconds. And then that way you can, get it to match based on the delay inherent in whatever connections you have. Do you have like direct connections via HDMI? It's going to be a certain amount. If you have NDI connections, if you have full NDI versus NDI HX, there's no one right answer. I'm not going to tell you this is the delay you need, because your delay is going to be different than her delay. So you need to figure out what your delay you're experiencing and then match it up that way. earphones with denoising like Apple's mic or denoising, you got this. Oh yes, you can. I believe they said you can't set up Bluetooth audio, use a Bluetooth device as an audio input source. Oh, okay. Now, let's go back over here, side by side. So yes, you can use Bluetooth audio output. So you can monitor the show with your Bluetooth earbuds, and you can even use it for a Bluetooth input right here. So yes, that is available in the Bluetooth control panel. Is network bonding for OSB talent also? Let's check. Let us check. This is the magic of a live show. Let's go to overhead. All right, HubSpot talent. Close the audio mixer. Boop, 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 boop. Go into settings. Settings. Network. Cellular, WLAN, Ethernet, hotspot, and tethering. So right now, bonding is not available in the talent. It's checking for an update. Auto update. There is a new version 3.0, so let us do an auto update on that. While supports RTSP, SRT listener, web page as a source, fixes known bugs. Update. So that's going to update while we're doing the show. Continuing on. Do you buy the battery separately from a third party? If you're talking about the NPF batteries, yes. And actually, none of the batteries I have here on the table are Sony batteries, even though Sony invented it. This is a UOO, I don't know. Can't even read it. Yeah, I'll put it on the overhead. This one, NPF 970, and that's the logo. I don't know what it is. But the reason I got these, like I says, is because they have USB, not that I can open it. They have a USB port, so that this way I can power my Sony camera and use this to power the tally light that I have, which is USB powered. So this one battery can provide power to both. And interestingly enough, I can actually charge it via USB as well if I wanted to. So that is pretty handy with these. The smaller batteries I have do not have that feature. They're very diminutive. This is the 550, 570 size, and it has obviously two cells, two lithium ion cells in it. And there's any number of manufacturers out there that make these now. You know, yes, there's going to be knockoffs. Yes, there's going to be genuine Sony batteries or whatever. But they all use the same cells. I mean, you could say that, but I'm not in the factories in China, knowing exactly are there key differences between the actual core cells themselves? Probably. Some are a little better than others. It's sort of like buying Rite Aid batteries versus Duracell batteries or something like that. Bluetooth has an 80 to 150 millisecond delay, though I think you'd have to delay the video to match the audio. Yes, that's a very good point. If you're using Bluetooth to monitor your headphone, to monitor the audio, and then you're using that which you're hearing through Bluetooth to assess the audio delay, you may actually overcorrect because the audio is being delayed via the Bluetooth. So this is also kind of why you see me pre-show. I have a wired headphone connected to the Director Mini so that I can hear the audio as I begin the show. Now, there's an echo because obviously it's delayed. I'm going through the camera's delayed for sync and everything. So I can't keep the headphones in to hear myself talking with the echo. But I do check it every single show when the show begins. Is my audio there? Does it sound good? Okay, and then I have to take the headphone out. The cellular has not shown up. So let me flip this over. You can see it's red I don't know how I can show that. It's red, even though it shows up yellow in the overhead just because it's so bright, meaning that there's no cellular service. That's because, like I said, there's a SIM card in there, but it's not activated. That was for a demo test, and I guess that account has been terminated. So no, no cellular to test right there. I want firmware to fix unknown bugs. You know, this goes to a personal pet peeve of mine. Oh, even better. We're gonna do a siren test today. Oh, I hope they just talk about it and they don't actually do it. That I wish everybody who comes out with software to fix bugs actually listed every single bug. I mean, there's a changelog. Company just came out with a changelog page. Restream just came out with a changelog page, and it's like, you know, and fixed bugs. Tell me what was fixed, you know, because if it's an issue that I had and I forgot about, it'd be good to know that, oh, okay, you addressed it. Thank you very much. Now I know that I can do that thing that I tried to do before because that bug is no longer there. That would be great. But, you know, I think they just have like a whole list of things, and yeah, we fixed a bunch of things. Tell me, like, tick them off the sheet, and then when you tick them off the sheet, put them onto the changelog so that we know exactly what was addressed. That would be great. When will the One be for sale and how much? That is a very good question. I don't know what the shipping status is. I know it's announced. I know it's on the way. NAB is coming up in just a couple weeks, so I'm sure it's going to be there. I don't know what the actual street delivery date is. I could reach out to them and then I'll post it in a comment on this video, or maybe I'll put it right up here. This is me waving my finger for a later edit in YouTube. And I'm guessing $12.99, $1,200, $12.99. I think it may end up being the original price that the Director Mini came out, because the Mini has dropped several $100s as it's, you know, it's been out and being delivered, and there's been a really good take up on the Director Mini. But, you know I was there when they announced the Director Mini, you know, a year ago, and in Amsterdam a year and 5 months ago almost, and I says, okay, this is Director Mini. You're only going to call it Mini if a bigger one is due. And here it is. This is the Director One. I would have called it the Director Plus. You know, you got the Director Mini and then you got the Director Plus. Plus just means it's bigger. The Director One kind of indicates that it's different. And while in some cases it is just more of what the Director Mini is. You know, the Director Mini gave you one LED on the back over top of each battery. This one gives you 4. It's just an indicator, more, you know, more ports, more antennas, more data capability, more everything. I see that the Director One is the direct competitor per se to the YoloBox Ultra. This is my Ultra in a PK1 cage. This has got a much bigger screen. I would not actually call these competitors, honestly. Can I do this? I don't know. We're going to give it a try. The YoloBox Ultra has a much bigger screen. The YoloBox Ultra has 4 physical HDMI inputs. The One has 2 HDMI inputs. Now you can use the 2 USB inputs with converters, like I actually have one here, and be able to bring in 4 wired inputs. But you could also similarly use the 2 USB inputs right here and bring in 4, 5, 6 physical inputs. In fact, I did an extreme test of the Ultra, and I brought in as many inputs as possible, and it's a lot of inputs. The this one, the One has external batteries. The Ultra has an internal battery. The One has bonding through Speedify. The Ultra has bonding through YOLO Live. The One will stream it'll stream 2 streams, but those are 2 separate streams. The YoloBox, all YoloBoxes, enable you to multicast from the box. So you're sending 1 stream to YOLO servers, and then in the cloud, it's split to 3. So your send data is less, your destinations are more. The Director series has an app where you can do control or be local cameras, 3 local cameras directly into the Director. The YOLO doesn't have that. There's no app and there's no local networked cell phone camera. You can kind of get around that because you can access it via a web browser and get controls, and I've done that, I've shown that. And you can be a remote guest. The YOLOs have a remote guest feature so that you can have 5 people be on devices and be a remote guest. Now, remote guest means it could be anywhere on the planet, which could be really cool. Except it also means that every device, even if it's in the same room on the same network, this device is going to go out to the network, over to YOLO servers, come back down from the internet, and come into the device. It's not a local area connection. So that if you are just trying to do a local shoot, this is say I'm not connected to the internet with this, and I'm just sharing my connection, sharing Wi-Fi from this device, or the talent like I shows, I can have 6 wireless cameras in the same room as me with no internet connection. With the YOLO, you can't do that. So they're not very different, they're different. And those differences, based on what you want to do and how you want to do it, are going to determine. I don't necessarily consider them competitors. There's 2 different choices. And based on like, oh, I need 4 physical inputs for HDMI, boom, 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 done. Okay, your choice is done. I want to bring in 2 remote guests from around the world into our studio production. That's what I want to do. Okay, easier on the YoloBox. Oh, I want to be able to like hand off 3 devices and have people control the mixer and graphics and comments and everything. Okay, go with the Director Mini. Based on how you operate and what specific things you want to do is going to tilt it one way or the other. I'm not saying they're both equal. I'm saying they both have strengths. Having Speedify natively helps if you want to do that. And Speedify is also when you have 2.25. Yeah, check this out. Low battery, battery 2. Now we know which one it's using. Let's look at the back. Yep, battery 2. It should say 2 over top of that. It should say 2 over top of that, but it doesn't. But now you know this is the battery it's been using. Oh, it does say 2 right there. It says it next to it, 2, and this one says 1. So it was using battery 2. And now it says battery 2 has 25% remaining, which is fine. We're just going to burn it out. It's actually not using that much power. I'm surprised. Continuing back to the Speedify. Speedify, once you have a Speedify account, you're able to use that on all kinds of devices. Like I could have Speedify on my cell phone, a couple cell phones, and this device, and I could have Verizon and T-Mobile and who's the other one? AT&T. I could have 3 different cell phones on 3 different networks, and Speedify has a thing where they're all going to pool the data. Whoever needs it, it's just going to flow between the devices. Anything that's on the network, they're all going to share devices, and that's going to just flow into this as part of your Speedify account. YOLO doesn't have that. YOLO is basically using your bonding for the video output only, whereas Speedify will let you add it onto your laptop via Wi-Fi, connected into this pool. And now if I need to go onto YouTube and turn off that stream that is set to not turn off, I can use my laptop to get there through the bonded connection. So having that can be a benefit over top of, you know, let's just say a dedicated video only bonded connection. Big mistake from Magewell, no additional HDMI. That's the game changer. Well, like I said, this model is an evolution of the Director Mini. If they come, who knows? You know, NAB's coming out. Maybe they'll come out with an even bigger one. I don't know. Well, even bigger one. Huh? Another model that multiple my input. I think the USB. Both of these USB for that ability. It can your input be a data, you know, flexibility. Being limited HDMI is on. It can be dealing with or doing a smart where I cameras in Director ONE cameras. I did test into it, and I choose with live inputs on each. So 3 live and 3 live, and then I dissolved between them. So for that dissolve portion, I had 6 live moving inputs on the screen at the same time. Now, I'm not keeping all 6 up there the whole time, but 2 HDMI connections can be a con. But if you've got a lot of NDI cameras, if you're able to leverage the app, if you're able to convert USB to HDMI, I got 10. My voice is coming out if it's underwater. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's clear here, so I'm recording this and then I'll upload a video later. I think ultimately it's your own workflow that decides how it want to work. Simple, fast, pragmatic, more complex with long pre-programming. Absolutely, you know, and that's why having different devices in this market really does pay off, because you can pick a device that works better for you. That's why there's Bird Dog cameras and Panasonic cameras and Sony cameras and Canon cameras, and they have different ways of working. Looks as if the Magewell Director ONE is probably what originally planned for their initial release, but ended up with the Director Mini. I don't know. That can be one way of looking at it, yes. Something is happening with audio in my YouTube, yes, and then it was fixed. So it's something weird going on. Am I streaming from the Director ONE? Also, the audio have a little side. I am not streaming from the Director ONE. The Director ONE is in the show. So I am not streaming from this device. I am streaming from a Director Mini. I produce on a Director Mini, and then it goes through Restream, and so that I could show you and go into things and even shut this off, I'm not streaming with this device because this is the subject of our show. And close, go away. The one of the other key differences that you can see now, that battery too is way down there. You can see my connections up here, my audio meter. And another key thing that is the same is the fact that they kept internal storage. So in here, you can actually choose your storage. You have 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Well, there's 64 gigabytes, 14.2, basically 15 is used up for operating system and app. But with no SD card, I can record internally. And then after recording internally, I can make copies to a USB stick, to an SD card, and I have done that. I have, hit record on my Director Mini for, recording a video and forgotten to insert an SD card, and it just records. And it records internally, And then when I'm done, I'm able to copy that. So that way you're able to, let's just say you wanted to record internally to do a program and then dupe a copy for a client. You can do that dupe right here in the device, whereas the YoloBox is designed that it only records to external media, whether it be a USB stick or an SD card. And then that way you need something else to be able to copy between those devices, because you don't really have access to the Android operating system, which could technically execute a copy command between two different media, but you're locked within the app. The back LED lights, you can see here. Let me go to the direct. You can use the back LED lights as battery indicators, which is what I'm using now, or use them as NDI tally lights, so that if you are sending NDI from this to something else, that this will indicate when it is active in program on the other device. Shortcuts, you can add shortcuts in here and execute them. And type C, as we were talking about before, there's no HDMI output mode on the Director ONE. You have UVC mode and MTP mode for file transfer. So if you want to use USB to duplicate the video contents on the internal storage and copy it off. And then of course you can name it so that when you plug the UVC into a laptop or whatever and say, okay, what is it going to be called? It's going to be called Director ONE, or whatever you want to name it. The encode, you still have two encodes, just like the Director Mini. Your switching capabilities are exactly the same. Your recording is exactly the same. My saving path, SD card first, but you can choose internal storage, like I was talking about. And then your audio capabilities are going to be the same as well. So it is basically an extension. It's an evolution of things that people liked about the Director Mini, but they wanted it, it's not so mini anymore. Also in the box, it's actually kind of like the reverse way. Let's talk about everything else and then talk about the box. In the box, which I kind of gave everybody in the first look, they give you a new hood, which has all of the antenna openings. So you can still slide this over top and it gives you a metal hood. But again, as I've always says, it's not so much about the light hitting the screen. It does help a little bit, but people can't see the screen because of bright sky behind them. So remember, this is just a big glass mirror. So if there's a big bright light somewhere, that's what you're going to see. The key is to make it dark behind you. Then when you look in here, it's going to be reflecting nothing. And then that way it'll be easier to see the brightness coming from the screen. It does come with a USB to locking USB-C cable. So this is handy to make use of the UVC output into a laptop. Although, it is nice that it is locking, but if I'm doing to a laptop and I'm doing something like that, it's very likely that I have a table to put it on and it's not likely going to be bumped around. We've got a little USB-C to USB-A converter. We have some little screws for the hood, and then we've got a bunch of adapters for the power plug, which is currently plugged in under the table so that I could power the device. So I can't show it to you, but it is in the first look video. And if anybody has any other questions, feel free to throw them in the last few minutes we have to look at this device. Like I said, I appreciate you all being here. Hello from Australia. Thank you very much for being here. We are all the way around the world, from Greece all the way around to Australia. And today has been a very busy show, showing a lot about the Director ONE, which is Magewell's latest entry into the all-in-one live streaming solutions. Thankfully, I have one here to show off to you and answer your questions. You can see the SD card on the bottom. One of the really nice, let's just call it bug fixes, that they changed was the fan is now no longer in the middle here. On the Director Mini, the fan was right here blowing in, and if you put it flat down on the table, you suffocated the fan. It couldn't bring air in, couldn't cool, it could overheat. So you needed to, I always said, put batteries in here so that you elevate the device from the table. With the Director ONE, that is no longer an issue. The back has nothing to do with cooling. You can see the vents are on the top and bottom and on the sides. So there is, they actually put rubber feet on the bottom here because you can indeed put this down directly on the table and use it. So you don't have to worry about the ventilation. And it's one of those features that really flies under the radar, but it really is a fantastic engineering assistance in that you are able to now set it down on the table and not worry about it. You don't have to add the batteries to elevate it so that it's cool, or you don't have to put it into a stand like I have the PK1 stand here for the Mini. And what this does is this elevates it so that the fan right there has room to breathe. You have to do that. And there's no kick-out stand. Actually, there are kick-out stands, and they aren't included in this one, I don't think. In the Mini, they come with little adapters that go into the battery slots that kick out and give the ability to put it on a little tilt. I personally like the little stand because then you can click in your road receivers or whatever here and everything. There's one on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, and it's got a little carry handle, and it's a stand. And I am working with PK1 to put together a similar stand for the One. So hopefully by the time these things are shipping, you will be able to go to pk1.tv and or follow the link in the description and get one of those stands for your Director Mini One. See if any new questions have come in. Actually, a couple questions, more questions came in. The Magewell has internal OBSBot tail air control, but does the YoloBox X via NDI? NDI control, yes. I have the OBSBot tail connected via NDI. So if I go to that camera, you want to see the talent. There you go. So this is, and if I click on this and I touch this, the AI human tracking, you can see I'm actually able to do that, which is surprising because I thought that was native to the OBSBot OS that's on the talent. So it is tracking me right now. I'm going to turn that off. And then you can see I've got the extra controls. I thought that was native to the OBSBot talent, which is, you know, what I expected OBSBot to be doing with regards to differentiating the talent from the Director Mini. And, oh, wait, I'm flipped. So as you can see over here, there is the ability to do that on the Director ONE. Can I do it on the Ultra? I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, you know what? It's going to be hard to do because I'm actually using the hotspot on the Director ONE. So it's not on the camera air. The tail air camera is not on the studio network. It's on a different network. So that's going to be a little bit different. So I can't actually answer that right now. Does the YoloBox via NDI control the advanced features of the tail air? I don't know. I will guess no. About transition the MP4 file to make a video with logo, what kind of way to do it? Means it once with alpha channel. Video with a logo, just a PNG. So if you have a PNG, then you can, you know, put it anywhere you want. So if I had, oh, you know what? I have to stick a card in. If I stick a media card in, and I go to graphics and I say add, and I say I want a logo, and I go to my SD card, go to my media, logos. Okay, that's not a great logo. Save. Let's do another one. Logo. Let's go back. My media, StreamTek. There he goes, my StreamTek logo. There it is. This one is a PNG, and so you can see it's cut out. And then I can shrink this down. I can put it where I want to, save, and then I can add that onto the screen, and there it is. So there, video with yes, to be able to cut something so that it has this, this round or differentiated shape, you're going to want a PNG-A or a GIF. And both of those have alpha channels, and the GIF can be animated. Let's see if I can do that. Let's add logo, my media, logos, music, vids, backgrounds. I think it's in backgrounds. Kites. Nope. Delete. You know what? I don't think... I thought I did have a couple animated GIFs in here. I just don't know where they're sitting right now. No, they're not in backgrounds. They're not in logos. They're not in moving. Oh, maybe they are in moving and it won't open it. So I'll take that back. Maybe not animated GIFs. No, not a game changer, but price. As I said, I'm thinking $12.99. I'm not part of Magewell. I am not a reseller, so I don't have advanced information on what the sale price, the street price is going to be. But I'm guessing around $12.99. I guess I'm somewhere around there. I think probably around the price the Director Mini came out at initially. The Mini has gone down several $100s, and this will come back in at that price. How did you set up the hotspot? I went to the settings, network, come down here, hotspot and tethering at the bottom, turn the hotspot on, and then turn it on. You give it a name, give it a password, and you're sharing your whatever connection you have coming into the Director One is now available as it is an access point for everything else to connect into it and use this as your network. So if you are using built-in cellular here, you're able to then use the Wi-Fi antennas as your local area network and have everything connect directly into this, and you're complete. You know, you've got your cellular access on the outer antennas, your Wi-Fi shared on the inner antennas. If you're not doing that, then you can actually use the Wi-Fi antennas to connect to another network, and you can use cellular and Wi-Fi sources and bond across those. And here's actually a very interesting facet to this. I am connected to two different cameras. Turn this off. The tail air is connected to the Director One via the Director One's shared internet connection, which is coming in via Ethernet from my local network in the studio. The Bird Dog is wired to the local network in the studio. So this device is actually seeing both networks and pulling cameras from both networks. Very interesting. Are the quarter 20 screw mounts reinforced since there are no cages available just yet? The interesting thing with the Director series is these are metal. These are heavy duty metal. It is not a plastic case like if you look at the YOLO. The YOLO is a plastic case with a metal thread in it. And the Magewells, these will damage your floor if you drop them. Maybe not on the screen, but you know, these things have big metal bumpers on the corners. These are die cast and or CNC machined or don't know. They're strong and you're screwing directly into the frame. It basically is its own cage. So do you need a metal cage around a metal device? I don't know, but I can definitely see the need for a table stand because when I look at it here on the table, the overhead view, when I look at it in the table, the reflection, all I'm seeing is this. It's reflecting the light that's on me. So I really need something to tilt it back a little bit so that I'm not seeing the light that's in front of me bouncing off of the screen. So I mean replay. At the end was a video. I don't understand the question. How do you, about a transition, the MP4 file to make a video with a logo, what kind of way can I do it? It means it wants an alpha channel. Oh, you mean like a stinger, probably. Like for replay? Yes, you can make a stinger and it will play a stinger to go to replay and a stinger to come back out of replay. Does it have the web URL option? Absolutely. It is, this is an evolution of the Director Mini. So everything the Mini can do, this can do too, except it's advanced in the hardware capability and internal cellular. So the external antennas, the better battery indicators, the physical HDMI output, the larger size, the brighter screen, all those hardware advancements are on top of the same core operational capabilities that are built into the Director Mini. So everything the Mini can do, it's like everything you can do, I can do better. I mean, or just everything you can do, it can do too. And in terms of Wi-Fi, it can definitely do it better. Can you try this? Stream Marto Live PCA and test if this will work. I can try. I guess you're looking at a web URL. Let's try this. Graphics, add, web page, Stream Marto. Okay, StreamArto.live / where's my slash? / PCA. Go. Save. So yeah, there it is. And you're probably controlling that. So you can have a graphics controller somewhere else on the planet. Wherever Hassan is, that's what he's doing. He's controlling my graphics now. Do you anticipate a bigger talent? This is a really good question. Do I anticipate a bigger talent? I think what you're asking is, do we anticipate that OBSBot is also going to be coming out with an OBSBot version of the Director ONE? Like a talent one. I actually don't know. I don't know. That's an agreement between two companies. I am not involved in the companies. I'm not employed by the companies. I'm just StreamTek. And so I have no inside information as to whatever their arrangements are and whether this will also be released under the OBSBot brand. That's a really good question, though. I don't know. Irshad Abdul, late to the show. Does it have RTMP pool and does it work with Companion? Yes, both of these are available in the original Director Mini, and so both of these are available in the Director ONE because it's the same application. It's just advanced hardware capabilities, internal SIM, brighter screen, antennas, and everything. So you're able to do everything the Mini can do. This can do too. Have I installed the 3.1 beta? I don't think I have. No. So yeah, I'm just checking it and go over here. I've got 3.0. My firmware is up to date, so I'm not on that beta team. So, or this device is not part of that beta test to be able to include that in here. So, no. Alrighty. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming to today's show. I'm just going to wrap up here. Thank you all for being here. Again, if you are late to the show and you want information on what the Director ONE can do, I urge you to go to the rest of the YouTube page and search for Magewell right here. And you can find the first look at the Director ONE where I walk through all the hardware differences side by side. I got a sneeze that wants to come. And then anything that applies to the Director Mini applies to the Director ONE. So if you're looking for how to set it up and operate it, I've got a video on the Director Mini intro. Tells you all about it. I'll go through all the different settings. I do a stress test. I connect 10 cameras to the Director Mini. Same as the Director ONE. It's the same capabilities. So you're going to be able to connect 10 devices. I tell you how to use a $20 Bluetooth controller to control the Director Mini. It applies to the Director ONE. I sound like a broken record. It applies to the Director ONE because they're sharing the same software. So if I want to switch cameras between my two-shot, just go to that. Just cut to me. Just cut to that. Just cut to me. You know, go to the two-shot again. There you go. And even bring in my graphic. There I am. You can do all that with a Bluetooth controller, and I show you how to do that right there. So if you have questions about the Director ONE that I haven't answered here, feel free to go to the StreamTek channel, type in the word Magewell, and you're going to find out all kinds of things about the Director Mini that apply to the Director ONE. So if you are really interested in the Director ONE or the Director Mini or using both together, you're going to be more than satisfied going through these videos, watching them, and being informed. And again, if you have more questions, comment on those videos. I follow the comments. I answer the comments when they come in as best I can. And that is a great place to get all this information. If you haven't already subscribed, I've subscribed to my own channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. If you find a video you like, you share it on your social network, and then you can help people who don't know about this channel find out about this channel, and that helps me out a lot too from doing shows like this. Also, I write for Streaming Media Magazine, so you can go to streamingmedia.com and subscribe to Streaming Media Magazine. I also do reviews there. And if you want to reach me directly, there's a contact us page right over there on streamtek.tv. I'm not going to go to the rest of them because there's just always extra stuff on there. So again, YouTube channel is the primary place. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or Twitch or Instagram, Instagram is still running. If you're watching this on any of those other channels or Facebook, feel free, go to the YouTube channel, hit subscribe, you know, click the bell, do all those fun things, become a member. I'm working on that. But I thank you all for being here. Let me just scroll down, make sure I didn't miss anybody who threw in a last minute question. Did I try different antennas? I did not, but they are standard connectors, and I heartily believe that any better Wi-Fi antenna can be put on here as long as it uses the proper SMA. Another question. Add drone on Magewell. If you can send RTMP out, the Magewell will take RTMP in, and then that's how you can get it. We'll be reviewing. Thanks for the show. Thank you for being here, Alan. I appreciate you and everyone that's been watching the show today. We've had a great audience. We've had a lot of really good questions. I appreciate you all being here. I am not here next week. I am on a trip, so enjoy the week off. I will. Until then, I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks right back here. Thanks for watching.